Confidence isn't found, it's built in silence, under pressure, and without applause. My name is Connor. This is the 3F Life, Faith, Family, and Fitness. And in this video, we're going to get into how I lost my confidence and how I was able to get it back. When I was 18 years old, I had this crazy, and a lot of it is just like, you're a kid and you got so much belief and you think you can do so many things. Like, I remember being like 15 thinking like I could play in the NBA, thinking I was going to hit this growth spurt and then just become this like NBA superstar player, because I grew up loving basketball. And I got to a point when I was like 16 where I realized I wasn't going to continue to grow. I was going to kind of sit at the same height that I was. And that kind of like drained my confidence a little bit. But I started getting into making like music and things like that. And I got a little bit of like a traction going. I had a group, like a label that me and my close friend put together. We had about 10 artists with us, singers, rappers, and everything like that. And when I'm 18, like, I thought the world was ahead of me. I thought like I'm gonna be like at the Grammys. I'm gonna be driving a Lamborghini. I'm gonna be a multi-millionaire here in 10 years. I mean, honestly, I thought I was gonna come a lot sooner than that. And then you kind of go into the real world and you get a wake-up call. So what happened with me is I met my ex-wife when I was 18, and her family, they were illegal immigrants, and they started living with me. They didn't have a place to stay, and I had just moved out of the house. I had stayed with them for like 2 weeks before they got evicted from their apartment. So I ended up getting a townhouse for me, and then I let her family move in. And then they didn't work, they didn't clean, they didn't do anything. So I go from like this super confident, like 18-year-old, a little bit like arrogance, almost like, yeah, I can do whatever. And then this world just flips me upside down. And then it's like, you got a responsibility now to support a whole entire family. It was her mom, her dad, and her brother. None of them were working and not really helping in any way. And so I went through that. And it kind of created this spiral of negativity and bad things happening in my life because I didn't have that confidence in myself. And I ended up like just eating really bad, staying up late, not getting good sleep, watching TV all the time, just having these really bad habits. I stopped going to the gym, stopped going to church. And this ended up like, I ended up becoming like this super fat version of myself. And then I had all this stuff that I was going on with in my personal life with her family and everything, and the way they looked at me and like just the way they treated me and everything and how they spoke to me. It just kind of completely sapped my confidence away. And so I went from this 18-year-old kid who had all the confidence in the world to this young man that just had no confidence at all in himself. And then I brought a kid. Then me and my ex had a kid. And so then I'm a father with no confidence. And that bred a horrible life for me for a very long time. And when I was in the moment, I probably wouldn't have admitted it because you don't always like think like, we don't always do that self-reflection in that sense where we're just like, how am I doing? Am I confident? We don't ask ourselves these questions. We just go through it and it's life. And I didn't really realize it until years down the line when I was probably 25, 26. But your confidence will grow the moment you decide to stop negotiating with your weakness. So we allow our weaknesses, our sins, we allow these things to just consume our lives. And these things just destroy our confidence. When it comes to being confident with women, if you don't talk to women, and you're just this shell of a man that goes home and watches porn every night, and like maybe you've had girls in the past or whatever, but you're not even confident to talk to men. There's no confidence. You build confidence by avoiding your weaknesses. Like when you want to get rid of a weakness, you've got to attack it. I think I always I grew up watching sports a lot. And Kobe used to always talk about like when he was in, I want to say he said middle school or high school, he would only focus on the skills that he was the weakest at. So if you're playing basketball and you can't dribble the ball with your left hand, you can't go left. Somebody playing defense is just going to force you left, and then they're going to steal the ball from you. But Kobe would say, like, he'd spend the whole summer, all he would do, he'd only go left. It's like, I'm going to force myself to do what I'm not comfortable doing, and that's how you grow. And it's the same thing with life. If you're not confident doing something, if you're not confident speaking, then you go and you talk as much as possible. And I'm not saying, like, be that guy that just doesn't ever shut up. But you get the point. Like, if I'm not confident in front of a camera, I'm going to spend hours in front of a camera speaking. If I'm not confident talking to women, I'm going to spend hours talking to women. And these things are going to grow your confidence level. And it'll work like this in every aspect of your life. If you feel disappointed in the fitness that you're in, spend some time in the gym. I tell you what, when you start seeing those results, that's going to give you such a boost of confidence. If you're fat and you shed 50 pounds, man, you're going to feel like you could take over the whole world. It's going to breed that confidence in you. You don't become confident by talking to yourself. You become confident by keeping promises to yourself. This is a problem I had for years. I would have this, like, I would have, like, this goal, like, I want to get in the shape. I want to get fit for once in my life. And I just wouldn't follow through. I'd go to the gym, like, for a week, or I'd hit the heavy bag for a couple days, and then I'd fall through, and I'd go years without exercise completely. And it was just this, like, how can you be confident in yourself just by you telling yourself that? Like, I'm absolutely a firm believer in, like, the way you speak to yourself is the man that you create. Like, you have to be able to speak highly of yourself, but if you're not also putting the work in to create those results, then you're just talking to yourself, and you know deep down that you're lying to yourself. You might look in the mirror and say you're jacked, but you also see yourself physically, and you know you're not jacked. But if you look into the mirror and you have that belief, like, man, I'm going to get in the incredible shape, and you're also putting in the work to do it, then that work is going to pay for, like, it over time. And none of these things are going to be like you wake up the next day and you're jacked. It's all like everything in life is you put the work in, the results come after. And that's what it was for me. I went through years of being this fat, out of shape, disgusting person. I was the absolute worst version of myself, and I finally realized one day, like, I've got kids. It took a couple of them. I wasn't acting like this when I had my first. It took a few of them for me to realize, like, these habits that I'm living are just not good. And if I want to show the best version of myself, if I want to raise the best men that I can raise in all three of my boys, then it all starts with me and the man that I become. And if you're that type of person, if you're out of shape, if you're smoking a bunch of weed, if you're lusting after women constantly, how are you going to raise your kids to be better men or women? How are you going to set that example? Because the kids that they see, the man that they see is what they're looking up to. We get this perception as adults now that, like, we're all human, but we forget about, like, how did we view our parents when we were kids? I mean, I looked at my dad like Superman. I thought my parents could do no wrong. And it took me until I had my own kids to realize these are just adults just like me. These are humans. They make mistakes just like I am. And it took such a long period of my life until I was able to find that. And to be able to grow that confidence. And then, like I said, with the gym, it takes time. It takes a lot of time and hard work before you start seeing the results. If you have this negative perception of yourself, you're not going to break that overnight. It's going to take reading books and thinking. Because most people don't actually think about, like, how am I thinking about myself? Is it in a positive light or in a negative light? You don't really comb through your thoughts in that sense. You just think. And a lot of people are just this really glass is half full type of person, where you're just, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. I got some bad sleep. Today's going to suck. And then the day sucks. And it's like, man, but if you woke up, you got bad sleep, and you're like, I'm going to conquer the day. I might be a little tired, but it's just, I got to get through this 15 hours, and I'm going to get better sleep than I did last night. And you coach yourself over a long period of time. You put that work in. You put that work into what you read, the content that you consume, and you put that work in the gym. When I was around 230 pounds, it took me months. I would see on the scale like I lost 10 pounds. I'm still like 215. And I'd be like, I don't look any different. I still look fat. And I would tell myself like, man, you're fat and you're going to change this. This is something that we change now. And there's no looking back on this. We're going to continue to hit that gym and continue to get better and improve our lives. So that's how I was able to improve my confidence. It took, I would say, probably a year and a half. And it's something I still work on every single day. I work on how I help my speech. I work in the gym because I'm not where I want to be physically, not yet. I work on it in my relationship with Christ, with my family, and with my kids, because I want to make the right decisions so that they grow up and they have the right man to look up to. But that's how I did it. If you enjoy this kind of content, faith, family, fitness, any kind of self-improvement, that's what I want to do. I want to provide value for the world and help other young men improve their lives in the way that I was unable to do for such a long period of my life. But thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. And as always, God bless.